Do you want to know how to shift? I'm going to teach you how to shift. Write this down. SHIFT. I love acronyms because it keeps me on track. The first word is you got to see like you've never saw before. You got to see like you never saw before because you're seeing the way that God sees. His ways are not our ways. He says what? He says eyes have not seen, nor ears have not heard, or what has it entered into the hearts of man, what God has in store for you. So when God is telling you something, he is telling you something because he sees not where you are. The reason why I am not freaking out because the guy that's in the president's right now is doing all the stuff that he's doing is because I saw where I was, because I've been following what God has told me to do, and I'm preparing. So when I'm in the midst of a famine situation, I'm not hungry. Why? Because I did what he told me to do. He saw this before we got here, and he made permission. Say, I have to see. H is I got to hear like I've never heard before. And you got to hear God. A lot of us got the vision and you went off and left your job, but you didn't hear him that he said, I called you to be a dualpreneur. I called you to work and build, but you're like, God, I see it. I see the many people out there that are supposed to hear my voice. I quit. You went and got the duet guys behind you and said, I quit. And you quit before your time because you were not able to hear a word of instruction that God has an instruction for. He don't tell you to do and not give you the instructions. So I got to hear. It said faith comes from what? Hearing. But then it says, and hearing the word again. So you got to hear the word, and then you got to hear the word again. Because as you hear the word, you start to get what? More clarity, more instructions. I'm not blind when it comes to my purpose. I know I'm called to be a global speaker. And I've been declaring that. Why? Because that's what he saw, and that's what he said. And as I'm walking into different countries, are you hearing that? When they didn't know my name 9 years ago, but now they know my name in Africa. They know my name in India. They know my name in Australia. I'm learning Chinese so that they're going to know my name in China. Because I'm global, because that's what he saw and that's what he said. I'm not responsible to do anything more than what he said do. Say shift. You got to internalize what he saw, what you saw, and what he said. So I got to internalize that word on the inside of me. When I internalize it, faith doesn't come just by hearing. You have to believe what you are hearing is for you, because you will not pursue what you don't believe. And how you believe what God has for you is you internalize it. You eat that thing. I don't know how I'm going to be global, but I'm going to be global. I don't know how he's going to make it work, but he's going to make it work. I don't know where the money is even coming from. But do you know every step of the way he's provided the money for where I needed to be? Because I internalized it and it started to do something on the inside of me. I start to walk different, think different, talk different. And then what happens is I start to get faith welling up on the inside of me that comes with the boldness. And I remember I was at a conference and I said, I'm a global teacher, and I had a person look at me and say, who does he think he is, a global teacher? And I turned to him and I said, well, I'm global because during COVID, everything reset. And the platforms where high speakers were in high demands, they didn't make the shift to be online. So what it did was it opened up a time for Chris to pop his head in there long enough to show up. And then I started speaking in Africa virtually. I started speaking in different places, Indonesia, virtually. So then she said, well, you're COVID global. Don't let nobody wash out your dream. Because they can't see what God has saw. They can't hear what God has heard. They can't even internalize to get the faith of where they believe. But after she heard me speak and she heard the testimony, she came back and said, could you hook me up? So the very people that are being the ones that are telling you you can't do something, when you start shining in what God has to do, it's not my job to be able to say no, dear, but there's a $5,000 coaching package that she can sign up for. Right? Because I know my worth. I know what God has called me to be. I know what he positioned me to do, and I'm doing just that. Faith is not I'm believing for something just to be believing. I'm going to give you a practical understanding of faith. Faith is corresponding, suitable, appropriate action to what you are believing God for based off of his word. When you just lay say faith is hope, you get lost in hope sometimes. But when you realize that I can understand what you're believing for by what you're doing. So when I got faith to be a believer, I set my website up. I go to Arthur and get my PR package together. And I go there. I connect with the right people. I know what to spend my money on now. Because I don't spend my money on just anything now, because I'm spending my vacation time thinking about what my next step is. I'm not just dating anybody. I'm dating my wife, and me and my wife are talking about purpose things. Why? Because that's what he saw, that's what he heard. I internalized that. I got faith, and I'm living my life doing what I believe God said do. And that last letter is T, which when you do all those, you transition